So we are talking about Doctor Who, and specifically David Tennant, who played the 11th Doctor or 10th Doctor, however you want to look at it. He is coming back to play not the 10th or 11th Doctor, and not the 14th or 15th Doctor, really. They're acting like he's coming back to play the next Doctor, but what's really happening is a little suspect. So,
well, just so you know, David Tennant is my favorite Doctor. Of all the Doctor Who peeps, he's my favorite.
right.
I enjoyed the show that much more when he was doing it.
Yeah, and it's a toss up between David Tennant and Matt Smith for me. And and to be fair, I also loved Christopher Eccleston, and I even like when it comes to the older Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who. I loved Tom Baker. I loved a lot of the Doctors actually, and I also liked. Honestly, I sort of liked Peter Capaldi.
Okay.
For the first season, it got a little wonky when it got a little down and depressing and a little political. I did not like Jodie Whittaker. And it wasn't because she was a woman. It was because the show sucked. It just did. The story was bad. Everything was about her being a woman, and very little actual story was told that mattered or made sense. It was just bad. So the new
they should have focused on her playing the Doctor and not being a girl Doctor. See,
right.
they should have ignored the fact that she was a girl, and that would have been perfect.
Yeah. They leaned into it. Anyways, so we get this from Screen Rant. They talk about David Tennant playing the 14th Doctor, right? Well, here's exactly what it said, and I'll explain to you exactly why this is not a good thing, actually. And I'm not one of those guys that's constantly trying to down Doctor Who. We almost never talk about Doctor Who because we're not watching it. But when we heard this news, we're like, oh, well, we like David Tennant, so maybe we'll start talking about it again. But
yes, that's what I was hoping, but apparently I was being tricked.
Bamboozled is the word.
Nice word.
So what they say at Screen Rant is David Tennant is confirmed as playing the 14th Doctor, or 15th, however you want to look at it. Not reprising his role as the 10th Doctor. But why? Before the Doctor Who centenary special, The Power of the Doctor, Sex Educations, and I cannot say this person's name. Okay, you got to help me.
Well, you got to remove it. Ncuti Gatwa.
Okay, say it again.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Ncuti Gatwa. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Ncuti Gatwa was announced as the next Doctor, taking over from for Jodie Whittaker. But that proved somewhat misleading when Whittaker regenerated back into David Tennant. And by the way, when I saw that, I was like, oh, sweet, because this last season was horrible. I mean, it was so bad. I have literally been watching Doctor Who now out of, I guess, loyalty, because I've watched it since I was a child. But oh my goodness, the last season of Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who and Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who were just atrocious. Well, showrunner Russell T Davies has since revealed that Gatwa will portray the 15th Doctor after David Tennant's second tenure as the iconic Time Lord finishes. When does it finish, Shane?
It finishes
6 episodes into the season.
6 episodes into the season. Yeah.
Okay.
That's now, not good.
We're going to switch back to full here so I can really get into it. Here's the deal, boys. This is what you call... Girls, I'm sorry, I was doing the... Thank you for misleading.
Here's the deal, boys.
I know what you're doing, but, we just got to include everybody.
Whatever. Here's the problem. The last 2 seasons of Doctor Who has been so atrociously bad, so just franchise damaging, that they have lost viewers on a scale that would force them to bring back what is the majority of people's favorite character to play the Doctor. But that's not actually what's happening. They're bringing him back in to get you back on board, right? Just to swap him out for Gatwa. the showrunner may have brought back the famous showrunner that everyone liked. They might have brought back the best Doctor, but in reality, it's still the same Doctor Who. In fact, they're going to swap him out. They're going to bring in Gatwa, who is playing also the first gay Doctor, and his
first black Doctor, right?
And I guess the first black Doctor. I didn't even think about that. I guess the first black Doctor too.
This is shameful.
And then additionally, his companion. And in no way am I being like mean. I don't like these. I'm not being mean about the color of his skin or sexuality, whatever. I'm saying that this is so obviously a bait and switch. His companion, whose name is Rose, which sounds like the most famous companion we all know,
right,
is actually the first trans companion. So it's going to be a gay Doctor with a trans companion. And what we're going to do is we're going to introduce it with David Tennant, right? And then over a period of 6 episodes, they're going to try to swap you in right back in to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who, to the same politically charged garbage Doctor Who we've been watching now for 4 seasons.
Right. The reason why it's shameful is because if they had any guts whatsoever, they would just go from Jodie Whittaker straight to this new Doctor. And that's fine. They can pick whoever they want to do it. But by inserting David Tennant, it's like this way to like really try to get people back on board so that they're watching. But they realize the Jodie Whittaker views were so poor,
so bad. Like
they're gonna bring Tennant in to kind of bring up the views and then saddle them with this other Doctor. And listen, there's a time and a place for everything. But if you're gonna do it and you want to do it, then you need to own it. Don't try to trick people. Just have your female Doctor and then have your first, gay black Doctor, okay? And just go in with it. And let me tell you what, do this. Just write the show. Don't write him as a gay black Doctor. Just write him as the Doctor.
Right.
Write Jodie, write the girl as the Doctor. Write the first trans sidekick as companion. Just a regular sidekick.
Right. Yeah, it's a regular companion.
That's just how you do it.
And it's great because like we're going to be talking about Quantum Leap here pretty soon after this, or shortly after the segment, and they are actually doing it correctly. So here was my thoughts on this. And I had this enigma, right? This sort of eureka moment. Someone equated a television franchise or movie franchise to like a structure, a house, right? And they were like, you can't really mess with the foundation of a house. And I was like, you got a good point there, because a lot of these TV shows, a lot of these movies, they're like these beautiful houses, right? That everyone wants to be a part of. Everyone wants to live in. They want to drive by and see it. They want to buy it. They want to be a part of this beautiful house, right?
Right.
And over the years, this house has additions being added onto it. Rooms, a pool, a jacuzzi, a new yard, a new, porch with a swing, maybe some new flowers. Constantly, over the years, people are adding on to this beautiful house that everyone likes. And that's okay, because sometimes the additions don't work out. Sometimes you have a room that was built in the 80s, and it's obvious, and it's not great. And now we don't like it. But you know what? The rest of the house is fine. So like, you don't like this one room, this one bathroom, this one addition, but the rest of the house is fine. What we've been doing though over the last like 5 or 6 years or a decade now is instead of adding on to the house, these existing franchises, we're actually like going back in time, right? And we're modifying the structure of the house, like the actual physical foundation of the house. We don't have the balls to actually add an addition. And instead, we're trying to go back and retcon everything that made it great and change the foundation of the house itself. And then you wonder why when people come by, they're like, what is this garbage?
Right.
This is not the house that I came to look at. I don't want to live in this house with this crumbling foundation. You know what else they did in the last season of Doctor Who that drove me nuts? They gave Doctor Who like an origin story. And here's So before, what we knew about Doctor Who was he was a Time Lord that stole the TARDIS. He was possibly the last Time Lord, and he regenerates. And there wasn't much. The rest of it was mystery, and that was okay. And he would have these moments where he would be like, yeah, and he would say like, oh, I experienced that, or you don't know my name, or whatever. What they did this last season, they're like, we're gonna give him a proper origin story, and they go back all the way to Gallifrey, and they're like, the Doctor was this child, this little girl that was regenerating, and this other girl, a scientist, found her or whatever, and they completely modified. And first off, he didn't need an origin story.
Right.
Him being a Time Lord, the last Time Lord, was enough. But then when you made him like this, little girl of color, which is not, I don't have a problem with that, but you're changing foundation. You also remove the whole point of the number system. Why does he even need to have 12 regenerations if he's been around 4 million times prior to that first Doctor? It's just so weird, man.
Well, we need to just say it like it is, because there just should be no tap dancing around it. You give him an origin story, so you can, and you very nice way of saying, the foundation, changing the foundation. They wanted Doctor Who to have more of a, who wanted him to have the LGBTQ beginnings. They wanted, it wasn't good enough to have an LGBTQ Doctor. They needed to make it so that inherently that character was LGBTQ. You know, and that's what's wrong with, like you said, all of the shows now that are doing this, that are trying to do this because they feel like that's the only way to like make the world catch up with whatever's happening.
Star Trek Discovery is a perfect example. They literally went back in time and they added on to the foundation by changing our favorite character Spock, giving him a sister, and then sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, so this is just what's happening in general. And so it's an intentional attempt to change the character, and that's what makes fans upset. It's not because you're making him a girl or a black girl or a whatever. It's not
gay,
has
female
nothing to do
color,
with that.
yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're intentionally doing it to make a change when it's just not necessary. Create new characters. There's plenty of science fiction out there that you can just create a brand new character that is all of the elements that you want society to have and make it good. Make a good show so it's popular and people love it. Go do it. Don't change everything else, so that way it's like, I don't know, it's very destructive in a way.
Yeah, it's destructive, man. It's regressive. Don't mess with the
world building, or they think it's like helping society or making society better.
It's not.
But it's not. It's actually it's almost saying, you really didn't maybe earn this place. Right. Here. You didn't earn it. It's like we say about writing in shows. Like, if a character doesn't earn it, then they don't deserve it. And you can feel it. You know when it doesn't make sense because they didn't earn that thing in the show.
Right.
And so by doing this, it cheapens the young black girl. It really cheapens it for her because it's not earned, and you have to like say, well, Doctor Who was always just basically they started as a young black girl, and it's like that wasn't earned,
right?
And so instead of doing that, just start over, with something else. So
right, and that's why I said like it was like the foundation of the house, because when you add on to a house or whatever, a franchise, like there's going to be things that some people don't like. There's going to be seasons people don't like, or characters or whatever that you don't like. I've been watching Star Trek since the very beginning, since I was a child. There are plenty of episodes of Voyager that I think are like the worst thing I've ever seen on TV.
Right.
But I still absolutely adore Voyager. So you can add on to a show and a franchise and a movie franchise or whatever, and you can make bad decisions and you can make poor stuff, but that's not the end of it. When you go back and you ruin the foundation itself and you start damaging the foundation, you lose entire fan bases, aka Star Trek. We are constantly trying to tell people, like, look, hey man, Star Trek, it's not over. It had a bad run. Yeah, they messed with the foundation. Yeah, they messed with the canon. Like, there were some problems, but it's being course corrected. But so many people are just like, nah, I'm done. It's over. It's over for me. A lot of people for Doctor Who, it's over. David Tennant might get them to tune in, but the second they realize they're being bamboozled,
preached to,
right?
Well, they're being bamboozled and they're being preached to. That's a big deal. Nobody wants to be preached to. Nobody wants to be talked down to.
Right.
Nobody wants to be saying, that your viewpoint is wrong, and now we're going to tell you what the right viewpoint is, because everybody is entitled to their own viewpoint. I'll tell you what, why don't you just have your characters have their own viewpoint, and then we'll agree or not agree,
right?
Instead of telling us what we need to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what the story is about, really. It's like, and I hate to start off with negative stuff, because I know Shane was actually pretty happy about this. Right?
I was like, David Tennant.
Tennant's coming back. You're like, oh, now I can watch Doctor Who again. Sweet.
Well, he was a great doctor, and that's what I want to see. I want to see somebody play a great doctor. That's all I care about.
Right. So that sucks, because I feel like Doctor Who is like this timeless. It used to be this timeless franchise that has been so mismanaged over the last 4 or 5 seasons that I don't think it'll ever be what it once was. And now Disney has bought the rights to the U.S. version of Doctor Who.
Not surprised.
No, not surprised at all. But how is that going to work? Like, are they going to make a Doctor Who?
Different Doctor Who?
Yeah, are they going to make a different Doctor Who that's playing alongside of the UK version?
They're probably going to be 2 different things. They have to be. Unless they're just going to market Doctor Who. Maybe they want to do some Doctor Who thing at Disney. We don't really know if they're even going to make new content. Because right now, the only way to see Doctor Who is through BBC.
Oh, HBO.
Or, HBO too. But because they bought those rights. But that may change with Disney buying the rights now.
Right. Yeah.
So it may all go through Disney. Maybe they just want it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they were talking about making a US version. Maybe it's a movie or something. I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? What I do know is that Disney's track history right now is not great.